What's up, guys? My name's Lucas, also known as NJMA Goats. This is Will, and this is Matt. Today, we're going to be talking about the Giants' preseason wrap up and pretty much what we think about the Giants heading into the 2024-2025 season. What do you guys want to say?
You first, Matt.
All right. So it was, I guess, what most people would say, a lackluster preseason. I think some people are kind of overreacting in a way, and like, look, I know they didn't play well in the preseason, but like 99% of the time, or should I say like 90% of the time, you were watching backups play. So I wouldn't freak out too much over preseason yet, but you know. Um, Obviously not the best showing. I thought could have been a lot better. Could have been better. Not one passing touchdown, but I think people are overreacting a little bit, and I think you got to save your judgments for the regular season. And until that happens, just don't say anything. Now you will.
Um, I would like to say the same thing. It wasn't mostly any starters, and whenever the starters played, like for instance Malik Neighbors, he put on a show. Um, I would like to say um, our running back, our running backs also played good in against the Lions and the Texans. They also played good, and our defense against the Lions played good a bit. So, and against the Jets, it wasn't really good because it was like third strings and like second strings. So yeah, that's all I would like to say.
And Will, you're heading into our next question, which is thoughts on the Giants preseason overall. You guys have pretty much covered it, but I'll talk about what I thought. I pretty much thought the same thing. I thought the Giants were really going heavy on the run game. They really relied on Josh Kelly yesterday, who played well. Unfortunately, he got cut today, but he played pretty well from what I saw. The defense had some pretty great moments against the Texans. They even played pretty well when their starters were in. Against the Lions, they've been good. People are forgetting that when, even though it's preseason, they've been able to shut out these teams in the second half. The Jets and the Lions both were shut out in the second half of the games. I do think the offense needs to take a step up especially with the quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, Drew Lock didn't play great from what we saw, but just like you said, Matt, it is just preseason. So I'll give it over to you guys.
Matt, you go.
All right. So yeah, I mean, preseason football really just means close to nothing for regular season performances. Um, I mean, you want to see the positive signs early on, and when you don't see them, people tend to freak out a little bit. And yeah, I get that; that can be a little scary at times. But I think and you got to relax, like in the preseason. Like these games don't matter. Some of these guys who are like guaranteed roster spots aren't going to try that hard because they don't want to risk getting injured, and it doesn't matter much for them. I mean, preseason is just to see who could make the roster with like these guys who aren't guaranteed roster spots. Those are the guys who are really trying hard and grinding every day to make it. And that this is what really matters to them the most for any sport, really. I think the defense, like overall in the preseason, played well. Like for the most part, second half was definitely the best for them, and I think if we can get that in the regular season. I know these aren't really starters, but speaking of starters, I just want to quickly talk about Brian Burns. I know he only played one game, which was versus the Texans. From what I saw, he looked great. I know he didn't have like a sack or anything, but he was constantly getting pressure, having a ton of pressures, and really just looked like a force on defense. Will, you can talk now.
Yeah. Um, I would mostly like want to talk about like our offense for the preseason, and against the Lions, it was the big focus was Eric Gray. Tyron Tracy, and
especially in week 1 against the
yeah,
Lions. Yeah.
yeah. Eric Gray had like 2 touchdowns. He should have the second running back spot. Um, and with the passing game in week 1, Tommy DeVito did very well. Um, he hit Eric Gray on that wheel route for a big gain, and then right after that, he hit one of our tight ends across the field, and then right after that, that's when the Eric Gray big run happened, and that game was a pretty solid game against the Lions, and we won, so that made it better. And then against the Texans, Daniel Jones played, and he struggled in the first quarter, but in the second quarter he did much better, and it looked like he looked much comfortable, and you could tell on the Darius Slayton deep shot, and his last drive when he hit Neighbors on the sideline, and then he hit Hyatt on the sideline for a back shoulder. It was out of bounds though, but you could just tell he looked much more comfortable in the second quarter because he was just getting his feet wet because he hasn't played a game in like 8 months. And then all I have to say about about last night's game is that I feel like that game doesn't really have an effect on anything because none of the starters played except like it's for John Michael Schmitz. That's how you say his name?
Yes.
Yeah, he played.
And he got injured though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
When's he gonna be back?
I don't know the full injury details. I heard today that Evan Neal also got injured.
Yeah.
But I think both of them will be fine. I think Schmitz had a worse injury than Neal. But
I feel like we should cut Neal. I feel like we could like get someone better out of him because like he has not been good. Like there's a clip of like in the draft, like Giants fans were calling the Jets stupid for drafting Sauce Gardner and not Evan Neal, which looking back at it now, we probably should have took Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It could have been Sauce Gardner. There were a ton of other players available. We took Evan Neal at 7.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, we could have taken him in the second round, honestly. And we got Wandale in the second round that year, and now
was worth it.
He's looking like a stud. I think.
Yeah.
If you guys have seen what's been going on the Giants Instagram the past few days, there's been a ton of videos about what's been going on with Wandale's childhood and how he's been able to achieve his dream.
Even CeeDee Lamb commented in like a podcast saying how Wandale is gonna have like a breakout near this upcoming season, and he's like very underrated. So
yeah,
coming from like a star receiver, I think that's a good sign.
I agree with you. I think Wandale's upbringing was definitely a big one. Very happy with like the potential I've seen from him, and I think he could be another like receiving threat this year for the Giants. Hopefully, he becomes a player we expect him to be. I would definitely also, speaking of injuries, so I have some positive news about John Michael Schmitz. So from what I saw today, it appears that the injury isn't anything serious.
Good.
And
we got like 2 weeks until the next game, so might be good.
Yeah, he'll be fine. So I mean, like, I'm not like too worried about him. I mean, obviously it's something to like look at, but you never know. We'll see what happens. And I do feel confident about the receiving core this year. Obviously, Neighbors looks great. Wandale in the slot, and then you have Hyatt on the other outside. And I think we got a very good receiving room right there. What do you guys think?
I think they're very underrated, but let's not go off track. Um, Will, you did mention something earlier. We'll go back to what you said in a different question. Um, but Will, you were talking about Evan Neal earlier, which brings up this question.
Mm.
The cuts just started today. I think the biggest name for someone who's gotten cut is probably McKethan.
Oh, McKeithen? Yeah, I think that was definitely
Or
a big name.
McKeithen.
Yeah. He was not a good guard, and everyone kind of just, I guess he's kind of a no-brainer to cut, honestly. I think Azudu could also get cut in the near future. I thought he's played like crap. And Evan Neal was just awful last night when he was in.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like how he did versus Seattle week 4 this year. And, like, just all season, he was just awful. I thought he was a terrible draft pick. I mean, now looking back at it, I really wish the Jets took Neal. I know, like what you just said. And then we got Sauce Gardner and Kayvon Thibodeau. That would have been
a good defense.
That draft class would have just been absurd. But I'm happy with what we have now on defense, though. We do need another corner to play alongside Deonte Banks. Is there anyone you guys are interested in? I'll talk about it a little bit after you guys go.
There's a guy, I had made a TikTok about a proposed trade that the Giants should make a trade for one of the corners for the Panthers.
J.C. Horn.
Yeah, J.C. Horn. They should make a trade, and they're clearing. It looks like they're clearing up cap space right now to try and trade for someone, either trade or sign someone. I don't know if it's technically or if it's going to be J.C. Horn, but they got to do something, and I think he knows that.
Yeah, I don't really agree what Joe Shane has been doing. Like, he's been signing I don't want to say no names, but he's been signing players that I haven't even heard of before, instead of Justin Simmons and Stephon Gilmore, which it's too late. They're already on a team now, and I feel like it should either be Xavier Howard or J.C. Horn, and if you don't get any of those guys, then our best corner is going to be a second-year player, Deonte Banks, and Cordell Flott, who I really hope he becomes the player who Giants fans think he's gonna be, but right now he's just been getting cooked. Same thing with McLeod. He got toasted against Garrett Wilson, and I'm confident with our safeties, because with our safeties we got Jason Pinnock, who is very underrated, does not miss one tackle, and Tyler Nubin.
Yeah, I agree. I had mentioned before in a different podcast that Deonte Banks in his second year might end up becoming a role model for this team, which is not necessarily a good thing. Even though he's so good, you don't want to be a role model for your team when you're a player in your second year.
I really hope Malik Neighbors.
That doesn't show. It doesn't show that your team has great depth, and I think, like I said earlier, I think Joe knows that, but there are definitely going to be some corners, at least one or two corners that are going to get cut, and I'll read off the names of the players that have gotten cut so far, if you guys want. All right. Just like I mentioned earlier, Marcus McKeithen, John Giles, the guy that made that leap, he got cut. Ayer Asante got cut. Joshua Kelly got cut. Lorenzo Lingard got cut. Two running backs, Joshua Kelly and Lorenzo. A defensive lineman, Kyler Bow. I don't know how you say it. Kyler something. Linebacker, Trey Kaiser. Cornerback, Breon Borders. Another cornerback, Christian Holmes. and safety Clayton Isbell. Those are the guys that have gotten cut so far, and obviously they need to make more. But there are going to be some like bigger name players that are going to get cut, and like you had said, especially for that defense, they got to get more depth.
Yeah. I really hope that whenever the Giants are like practicing, like doing one-on-ones with the receivers and corners, I really hope Malik Neighbors can make Deontay Banks a better defensive back, like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, they will.
I agree. So speaking of trades, we were just talking about possibly adding a corner. I think JC Horn's a guy I'd be very interested in us bringing in. He's got potential to be a great corner in the league, but the one concern is that he is extremely injury prone. But I don't think we'd have to give up too much to get him. Possibly a fourth or a fifth or something like that, maybe a little more. But I think he could be a good addition to put alongside Deontay Banks and to add to our secondary. As of right now, our second corner is going to be either Cordell Flott, Nick McLeod, or sorry, I forgot his name. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I'm blanking right now, but
Phillips.
Andrew Phelps. Yes, my bad. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's going to be one of those three guys as of right now. I don't know why I wasn't thinking, but
I really want to give like Phillips a shot, and I don't know if like this is a hot take, but I feel like we should get like Xavier Howard because for one, he would be a good mentor for Jordan Phillips since he's a young rookie, and I feel like that would be good for Deontay Banks also, and just like the entire cornerbacks too. Because I don't think we have like a veteran for corners. I don't think, do we?
Not really.
No.
I mean, we could bring back Adoree Jackson, but I don't think anyone would want that.
No.
Another guy. So speaking of additions, another guy I'd be interested in us bringing in. We're gonna go to the offensive side of the ball. I've talked about this before on my podcast. If you guys haven't watched it, if you guys don't follow, go check it out right now. I'll just put it in the chat. But I think a guy I would like for us to bring in is Najee Harris. I know that might sound a little crazy, but I think he'd be a good guy to bring in. I think he could help boost the offense and I think we could be a safer playoff team. What do you guys think of that?
I like that because like didn't he rush for like 1,000 yards last year?
Yes, he's rushed 1,000 yards in all 3 years and has not missed a single game due to injury.
That's really good. And I like Devin Singletary, but like he hasn't gone like past 900 yards, right? Yeah.
Right.
I feel like and he's 5'7". He's productive, but he's short and he doesn't get past like 900 yards.
Yeah, it's been
Najee Harris, like that would be a game changer because he's tall, he's built, and he's like fast for his build, and he puts people into the dirt.
Yeah, it's been hard for the Giants to get anyone better than Saquon for sure.
They're gray.
I mean, they've been able to draft guys, Tyron Tracy, Eric Gray 2 or 3 years ago or 1 year ago. But they really do need to sign someone. I talked about it last week. I don't like their running back room right now. I don't think they're going to be that great. But they do. I do think Najee has a shot at being a Giant for sure. If the Giants want to trade for him. And that's also if the Steelers want to give up anything that's also like if the Steelers want to trade him.
Yeah, the Steelers have like two good running backs.
Very unlikely. Although the Steelers have looked really good in the preseason.
With the running backs for the Steelers, they
No,
have
just in general.
Najee. Yeah, with the Steelers, they have both Najee Harris and number 30. I forget his name, but he played like really good last year, and he had like a couple of big runs. So I feel like it wouldn't be that much of a problem and a hassle to get Najee Harris if they already have that running back.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be. Um, and Joe Shane has already made some pretty great trades in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brian
Bobby
Burns.
Okereke.
That was a
Yeah,
signing, but it's
that
still
was a
That
good
was
though.
probably like
yeah.
That was a
Brian,
steal.
I think the Brian Burns trade is gonna work out. And going back to um the the JC Horn thing, like I mentioned it on TikTok a little bit. Many people don't know this, but the Panthers general manager and Joe Shane, the Giants general manager, they're apparently really good friends. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants end up trying to work out a trade for JC Horn, whether it's right now or right before the trade deadline.
mm,
But what do you guys think? And then we'll move on to the next topic.
I feel like that like since we already got like Brian Burns, if we take like J.C. Horn, like who do the Panthers have? You know, I mean
Yeah, they don't have
they don't really have
they
that
don't
much
have a
guys.
lot of depth for sure.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that could be good for us. I would like it. I would definitely like it if we brought in J.C. Horn. I know he's got injury concerns, but we probably wouldn't have to give up too much to get him. Like I said, like probably a fourth or a fifth, maybe a little more, but it wouldn't cost too much. I mean, he has an injury concern. He's got a decent amount of upside. I'm excited to see if we. I would like it if we brought him in so we could put him alongside Deontay Banks. I think he can make us a little better. And if you also add Najee Harris to this team, I think this team you could be. I think the Giants could be looking at what could be a 10-7 season for sure, and could be a playoff team. Honestly, with just adding Najee to that offense, I think that makes us a playoff caliber offense. What do you guys think?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna save this question for later, but I'll go and we'll talk about it now since you just brought it up, Matt. Um, yeah, I definitely think that they'll end up making the playoffs. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, I think the Giants are gonna go 9-8. I don't know if this year that'll be enough for them to make the playoffs. If it is, maybe the seventh seed. Last time they made it, they went 9-7-1.
Good work.
So I definitely think that they can. Um, like Brian Dable, people are forgetting. Like, and I've said it before. This is a Brian Dable led team. I know there are some concerns right now about Brian Dable leading this squad, but there's no way that he's letting this Giants team get less than 6 wins, in my opinion.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I know you just said it, kind of. The Giants will not be a bad team this year. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like I know a lot of people are saying we're gonna have a 4-13 season, possibly even 3-14 or like 5-12. We've heard the noise. Now it's just time for them to go out and prove the doubters wrong. I think we could be looking at, as of right now, an 8-9 or 9-8 record at the very least, around there. Possibly a playoff team. As of right now, I'm going to say we don't make it, but I could possibly see us sneaking into a 7 seed if all goes well. What do you guys think?
I think we could make the playoffs. I have us going 9-8. 3 weeks ago, I had us going 10-7. But the thing I'm changing is we're not beating. I don't think we're going to beat the Falcons since now they have two All Pro safeties. So I don't really think that will happen. Also, they have like Matthew Judon, so like, yeah, that's probably the only game I'm gonna take away from us. So I think we're gonna be going like 9-8. If we make the playoffs, we'll be a 7 seed. But if we don't, then if we don't make the playoffs with a 9-8 record, I feel like Daniel Jones should maybe I think we should like consider Daniel Jones going for another year, because if he leads us to a winning record this year, I feel like he should have another shot. And like you said, we will not be a bad team. I feel like we will be an above average team because of our secondary. And I feel like we would be, I think we would be better off getting Xavier Howard, because we wouldn't have to give up anything. The only thing we're gonna have to give up is money, and like I feel like we have enough money to get a veteran that could mentor all of our corners, and I'm confident with our safeties. I'm confident with the offense a ton.
Yeah, I feel
And,
confident.
yeah.
I feel confident too. Hopefully, yesterday with the 8 sacks, hopefully that will just be a fluke. The new offensive line coach, Carmen Brasillo, he looks like a great guy to be a coach. The Giants have signed a ton of Raiders for that reason, to try and get the chemistry together, so that
the offensive line coach was a Raider last year.
Exactly, and that's what
now
I'm
you
saying.
got Illuminor.
Yeah, Illuminor. Illuminor is going to be a stud, in my opinion. And hopefully, yes, like I said, yesterday will just be a fluke. We cannot have quarterbacks running for their life. Whether it's Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock playing. And that's going to lead me into the next question. 1 second.
I feel like all Daniel Jones needs is just like more time in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yes.
But speaking of quarterbacks, like I was saying, do you guys think either DeVito or Locke are going to be released in the next couple of days? The Giants, just a reminder for you guys and for anyone who's watching, the Giants have until Tuesday at 4:00 p.m. to make all their roster moves.
I'll do this one. I feel like it should be Locke, because he has no chemistry with any of the receivers, and I feel like his only start was against the Lions, and he did awful. I saw only one good pass out of him, and that was a first down to the sideline to Allen Robinson. And I feel like DeVito, he had like his Linsanity run last year. He has some chemistry with the receivers, not all of the starters though. The downside of DeVito is that he has more chemistry with the backup receivers than the actual starting receivers.
Yeah, the one game where he was really with like the starting receivers was against Green Bay last year. And then the next game, which was either a week or two later when they played the Saints, he was kind of back to like an average backup quarterback in the NFL. And then they lost that game like 30-6.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose between one of these guys to cut, it would be Locke. I would agree with you guys, Will, with what they have to say, or with what you had to say. Like he's definitely had the least experience with the Giants. But Brian Dable did say to the media that he has been improving in practice. So I think there is a chance that they might keep both, and that is definitely possible. this question isn't up here saying, are we going to cut one or the other? Because there definitely is a possibility that we keep all of them.
Yeah, there is definitely.
I think it just all depends on like chemistry with
Yeah.
the receivers, because we have 3 great receivers. Actually, we have 4 great receivers: Malik Neighbors, Wandale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and Darius Slayton. I want to bring up something about like Darius Slayton in a little bit, unless we could do it like right now.
Say right now.
Let's hear Matt's thoughts first.
On the receiving core?
No, on if you think anyone's going to get cut.
All right, so
Any
we
of
have
these guys.
So we were just talking about Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. What the potential of one of those two getting cut? If anything, I'd cut Drew Lock and keep Tommy DeVito. I thought Tommy DeVito, I know it's only preseason, but he looked better. And Drew Lock, I know he didn't really get like a fair amount of time. Like, he looked really bad. I'm not even gonna lie. But at the same time, he really didn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. And maybe if we had the starting offensive lineman, he could have had a good game. I don't know though. We will never know because we never saw that. It's like with Daniel Jones though. People just say he's a bad quarterback, but at the same time, he's had awful coaching staffs, no weapons, a terrible offensive line pretty much every year except for 2022-23. It was able to lead us to the playoffs and get a $40 million contract with an average offensive line and a garbage receiving core. So at the same time, why can't he do really well with what should be a good offensive line and what has the potential to be a top 10, top 15 receiving core in the NFL? Right? I mean, if he can do something like that, which was just 2 years ago, why can't he do that again now? Like, tell me what you guys are thinking right now.
He even won us a playoff game.
Yeah.
With no receivers and a good offensive line. So
Yeah.
if he has both of those, then who knows what he could do.
And people are forgetting that Brian Dable is his 3rd head coach in 6 years that he's had to play with. He had Pat Shurmur to start with, and then it was Judge for 2 years, and now it's Dable. And he's had multiple offensive coordinators too. And he's still been able to produce quite a bit of talent.
I feel like Dable, like people are saying, oh, he's on the hot seat. Like Joe Shane, Brian Dable is on the hot seat. And like, I don't think they should because Joe Shane, he got us Brian Burns, he got us a ton of new offensive linemen, and Brian Dable, he's a great offensive play caller and he's a great coach. He's the first coach in like years to win us a playoff game, and he actually made Daniel Jones look relatively decent.
Yeah. And you're bringing up this next question, Matt. We'll go to your question after. But is it Brian Dable right now or the quarterback room that is making the offense really bad? If you guys don't recall, the Giants didn't score a single touchdown in the preseason, an offense or a passing touchdown. Yeah, that's what I meant. But do you think that falls on the quarterback room or Brian Dable?
I'm gonna take this one. I don't think it's Brian Dable. It looks like we have a much better offense. Like not, I wouldn't like to say players, but like because it was mostly backups. But I would like to say the plays look better. But I feel like it might be the QBs because for Tommy DeVito, it's a lack of chemistry. Same thing with Locke. But with Daniel Jones, I feel like he did make the offense look god awful in like the first quarter of the Texans, but in the second quarter, you obviously saw he looked much more comfortable, and that deep pass that he threw to Slayton, that was all Brian Dable. He chose to pick that play.
Yeah,
so
Dable.
I like the explosive plays, and I like how Daniel Jones is like taking advantage of the big plays, and he hit Slayton on a beautiful pass, might be even one of the best passes in his career. He threw the ball a ton to Malik Neighbors. He threw the ball to Jalen Hyatt, which was out of bounds, but that's an easy fix. Um, and yeah, I just feel like it's not really on either Brian Dable or the QB room, because really Daniel Jones, this is his first, like, against the Texans, that was his first game in like 8 months. And I feel like in the first quarter, he was just getting his feet wet. And then he got a little bit more comfortable in the second quarter. I feel like we should have played him against the Jets so he could get his feet wet again and be a lot more comfortable. So he's prepared for week 1 against the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. I think it's a little bit of both with like what I guess people are blaming the offense for, the struggles. I mean, for the most part, look, so I think part of it you could blame Dable on for, I guess, like not really letting the quarterbacks throw the ball too much. But at the same time, I mean, when these guys throw, they have to be better. Bottom line is, that's the bottom line. So I guess both you could blame a little bit for, but at the same time, when Brian Dable makes the right play calls, I mean, good things have happened. Like, but you've seen us when Neighbors got the ball a couple times, and you also saw Slayton on that deep ball. That was all Dable with the play calling. Both worked out there. Both quarterback and head coach worked out there very well. So you gotta, take both into consideration, see what's going wrong with both of them, and just you got to fix everything. That's stuff you got to fix. I mean, play calling I think can be a lot better. I was not a fan of Mike Kafka's play calling. I'm sure neither of you guys were fans of it either, but I thought, Mike Kafka was a terrible offensive play caller. I think Dable's a much better play caller offensively as well now. So I think our offense could
Yeah, and
better.
we'll get to see that a ton this season because he's actually calling the plays.
Dable also made what Josh Allen is today. He was like one of the coaches for the Bills when Josh Allen just started playing, and he made him into a really good QB. And I hope he could do the same for Daniel Jones. And I would like to say that that first throw that Daniel Jones threw, that was an interception and it was a pick six. I saw what he was trying to do. He was trying to like throw it into the dirt, but it ended up getting a little bit more air, and it was picked off. And another thing I would like to say is that the question says, is it Brian Dable or QB room that's making our offense look bad at times? I honestly think it's not either one of them. I think it's the offensive line most of the time.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because we had the worst offensive line of all time last year. We let up like 80 something sacks last year. Like, that was BS.
Yeah, people like to blame the quarterbacks for like every team for a ton of things, in my opinion. Whether last year, whether it was Tyrod, whether it was DeVito, whether it was Danny, everyone came up with an excuse of why we did bad, and it was not always their fault. There's a reason why Tyrod Taylor got signed in day 2 or day 3 in free agency. And he got signed by a team that has some pretty good quarterback depth too, which shows some stuff.
I'm not going to lie. We should have not have let Tyrod Taylor go.
Yeah, I agree.
He probably would have been the best backup in the league.
I do agree, but I have a feeling that maybe Joe Shane knew something. Maybe this might be Tyrod's last year in the league, we could have still kept him at least for one more year, but it is what it is. But we'll go to Matt's question that he had earlier, which was on the Giants wide receivers.
Yeah, I feel good about the receiving core for this upcoming season. Obviously, start out with Malik Neighbors, first round pick. We picked him 6th overall. I thought this was definitely the right move to make, and obviously it was the safe pick. So a lot of people would say we should have gotten a quarterback. Like you just said, a lot of people blame the quarterback on everything. People view Daniel Jones as Mike Glennon versus the Bears. Anytime he makes a bad throw, it's all over the media. No one will talk about him doing anything good. It's just whenever he does anything bad, like all the heat's under him.
Well, it's the Giants in general, really. Anytime the Giants do anything bad, it's all over the media, and no one talks about anything that they do that's great.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, we did see on Hard Knocks that Dable and Joe Shane wanted to trade up in the draft and probably get Drake May. If not Drake May, Jaden Daniels. But I do agree with you, Matt, that they definitely needed a receiver more than a quarterback, especially right now. Maybe next year or this year, whatever, they'll be able to get a quarterback. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe Shador Sanders from Colorado. I think that's probably the number one option right now because if you guys haven't watched him, I happen to be a Colorado fan, so I've seen him before. But he can run, he can throw, he can.
We're the guy from Alabama.
Yeah, that guy Milroe would work. Both of those guys would work really well with Dable's system because Dable isn't going anywhere.
You shouldn't.
But
I feel like that would be horrible for us, considering that would be like our fourth head coach in like the last 5 years.
Yeah,
that would be even more embarrassing than than Washington's QBs in like the last 10 years.
Yeah, but overall, I think the Giants' wide receiver depth, like chart or whatever, is like getting slept on really badly right now. And I think they're going to prove a lot of people wrong. Jalen Hyatt, I think he's going to get used a ton. We never saw him really in the preseason, but we'll see him a ton in the regular season, especially this year.
We have to use him more.
Last year, we never saw him. Like the best play that he had last year was week two against the Cardinals or that Patriots game. But he really only had like 5 or 6 plays where he played like really well last year. And I honestly think that's going to energize him to do really well this year. And then
I really don't know why we never really used him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might have been a Kafka thing, but I'm not going to judge Kafka just yet. I would rather not judge. But I think Hyatt's going to do well. Slayton, I think he's going to be a deep ball threat. Same thing with Neighbors. Both of them are going to be guys that get thrown the deep ball a ton. Like what people were saying in the offseason, like right after the Giants drafted him, right before the Giants drafted him even, people were saying whoever drafts Malik Neighbors, he's going to be the next Odell. And I think that might be one of the biggest reasons why the Giants drafted him.
I could definitely see that. Wait, did you want something? Did you want to say something, Will? Or
I'll say it after you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, definitely the right thing to do because, I mean, we actually have a franchise caliber wide receiver one. Obviously, he hasn't played a regular season snap of NFL football yet, but I'm really excited to see what he can do with us. And speaking of like possibly getting a quarterback, let's say, if we do draft a quarterback this year, and if Daniel Jones sucks, the entire world knows we're getting a quarterback. There's no question. He's going to be put in a good position. He's going to have Malik Neighbors, what should be a good offensive line, and a good weapon room. The reason why I thought it would have been a bad idea for us to pick a quarterback this year is because we didn't have enough weapon room. Because we didn't really do anything in free agency to address the wide receiver core. But we have what could be a good receiving weapon room now. I mean, Hyatt hasn't proven much yet. He hasn't been used enough. I think he has the potential to be a star receiver in the league. but I think the safest thing to do definitely was just draft the receiver this year and then see if we draft a quarterback this year.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And that kind of leads us on to this next question. Like, we've kind of already been talking about it. Like, who will the Giants draft next year? And I know it's really, really early. But if we want to make our really early predictions, and also if Matt, if you want to green screen anything, you can, and I can pull it up. Like you
I
can,
wanted to say
you
something on like the receiver question.
yeah.
So I think Hyatt, Wandale, and Neighbors should honestly be our three main receivers. Wandale, he's really good in the slot. He's really good after the catch. Hyatt, he's really good on deep balls. And he's improved a ton, like very much in training camp, and all the coaches are saying it. Even Brian Dable's saying it, and he's been looking like a dog in training camp, and we've all seen the highlights of like him catching the deep balls. He caught like a 70-yard touchdown in training camp, and I feel like he's just gotten way better than last year, and he's been bulking up too. And with Malik Neighbors, he's just perfect all around, in my opinion. And I don't think there's anything wrong with his game. And the thing that's going to be very controversial, what I'm about to say, is that I feel like we should trade Darius Slayton and throw in a couple of draft picks, maybe, like a couple of draft picks and Darius Slayton. And who knows, we could probably get a big defensive threat if we do that. We could get back Jabril Peppers, maybe. Maybe we could get who's a good corner right now besides like above J.C. Horn and Xavier Howard. Like I feel like we could get like a good defensive threat because we have three great receivers. And I feel like if we just throw in a couple of draft picks and we trade Darius Slayton, I feel like we get someone big on defense, if not a quarterback. Who?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Slay.
I mean, that safety, I mean, he's not a cornerback, but the safety on the Dolphins, I think we could definitely try and propose a trade, even with Slayton, and a couple of draft picks to try and get the safety from the Dolphins.
Javon Holland?
Yeah, Holland. Holland would be a really good guy, I think, for the Giants, honestly. And I think I don't know if this would even work, but I think he could be used as a corner, even though he is a safety. If the Giants really wanted to do that. But the Giants are really weak on corner and safety depth right now, even though not many people want to admit it because of like what the Giants drafted with Newbin.
There's some people saying we could get Bradbury back, but honestly, I feel like
if he leaves the Eagles, then yeah, I would grab him. Like, but there's no way that the Giants are gonna propose a trade to the Eagles.
Yeah, that'd be stupid.
I feel like we should get like a corner if we're thinking about trading Slayton. I feel like and throwing a couple draft picks. I feel like we should get a corner that that has been in Pro Bowls. Like I feel like we could get a Pro Bowl cornerback if we do a trade offer like that.
That's why I think like a guy that's been playing for so long, a guy like Gilmore would have been good, but he's taken now. I don't really know who's left that we could take or trade for. I mean, Peppers would be great.
This guy on the Texans that picked the ball off on Hyatt, he looks good.
Oh, Stingley?
Yeah, he had 4 picks last year.
we'd have to wait a few years if that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I still think we could get like a good corner if we did that trade.
Possibly. So, speaking of the draft, I know it's like very early for now. Today is August 25th, 2024, as the time this is being filmed. But so we do let's talk about the draft right now. So obviously there's two scenarios. Depends on how Daniel Jones does for the most part. If he sucks, the entire world knows we're taking a quarterback. There's really no question there. But now scenario two, if he plays well, honestly, I really don't know too much of what we would get. Possibly a defensive lineman, probably either a defensive lineman or a corner is what I would do if I'm the
Yeah, honestly, I agree, but especially if the offensive line doesn't take another step up, we might have to take an offensive lineman.
Mm.
Although the weird thing is, most offensive linemen taken in the first round, especially by the Giants, they haven't been able to do much. The guy that's been able to do the most is Andrew Thomas, and that was probably the best pick that Dave Gettleman ever made.
At least one of them for sure.
One of them. Dexter Lawrence was probably his best, but
I feel like if Daniel Jones does good and we have a winning season, I feel like the only way Daniel Jones does not get cut from this team is if he gives us a winning season. I don't care if we make the playoffs because the NFC is good, probably the best team, might be the best team, best what like out of the NFC and AFC, it's probably the better squad, and I don't doubt, even if we do have a winning record, I don't doubt if we miss the playoffs. But if we do have a winning record, I feel like we should keep Daniel Jones. But if we don't, we should cut him. And if we cut him, I feel like we should 100% take a corner since safeties are looking good. We already got the best safety in the draft this year. We don't have that much corners that have a lot of skill. We got Jordan Phillips, who I think should be mentored by a veteran who should be Xavier Howard. We have another young star who is Deontay Banks. He is improving. Malik Neighbors is going to improve him. It's going to be like sharpening iron. And I feel like if Daniel Jones does do good, if Daniel Jones does not do good, we should take a quarterback. And if Daniel Jones does do good, we should take a corner.
I think this is what they should do. If Jones doesn't do well, trade him and get draft picks. Even if it's not even that great of a draft pick, just trade him to whatever team wants him and get a draft pick. I don't even care what draft pick it is. It could be a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, even a 7th round pick. That's better than releasing him and getting nothing. And we could use one of those picks on what you guys have just been talking about, a cornerback, a safety, offensive lineman, what we've been talking about, even a quarterback if we don't take a quarterback early, if he doesn't do well. But if he does do well, yes, I do think they'll take probably another cornerback in the 1st round or an offensive lineman. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. Like what I'm going to say again, another good position we could take if we don't get a corner. I think corner would be the number one thing as right now, depending on if we get another corner this offseason, like depending if we get either Xavier Howard or J.C. Horn. If we don't get one of them, and if we don't have a good second corner, we got to take a corner on one. I don't know who's available yet. I'm going to start doing research probably next couple of days.
Yeah, the next time,
even defensive lineman.
Yeah, the next time I go live, I'll definitely have some more research. And at the end here, I'm going to have a question about the Giants' record. If one of you guys wants to try and screen share the Giants' schedule, we can go over the games at the end if you want.
Yeah, let me do that right now.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah.
But I'll move on to the next question here while you guys are doing that. And that is Brian Dable the next Tom Coughlin for this Giants team?
I
don't know
think
if I'd say
with
he's next.
enough, yeah, I don't think he's the next Tom Coughlin, but Brian Dable is definitely going to be one of the best coaches for this team, and
Maybe
he
not
won't be
the
better than
maybe
he
not
won't be
the
better than
next
Parcells. He won't be better than Tom Coughlin, but he will
maybe
definitely
not
be one of the best.
yeah, maybe not the next Tom Coughlin, but like a Tom Coughlin type head coach.
Yeah,
We've already seen it. Like he has the locker room. He's able to lead the team to wins that they shouldn't win, which Coughlin was definitely able to do. We saw it in the Super Bowl. I think Dable just knows exactly how, you know, an offense, a defense, just a football team should be led. And I think he's like the perfect definition of an NFL coach. And I've said this before, out of all 32 head coaches right now, Brian Dable is the only guy in the NFL who could help lead this Giants team to a Super Bowl, in my opinion. Even Andy Reid couldn't do it.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, you're probably right.
Someone said that not even Patrick Mahomes could have done good, like with the O line.
Yeah, I know. That's honestly possibly right. So let me get this. Let me get my thing up right now. Give me a sec. Come on.
I
You
wonder
guys
if I
see it?
would be able to see it. No, I do not see it.
All right, hold on. Sorry, let me just.
But yeah, I definitely see Dable trying to like. We saw it in the preseason too. Like every time they win, he's always like trying
He was
to
hyped.
tell them. He's not always like every time they get a win, he's always just saying like that's the like this is the foundation of what we want to build. Like he has a winning culture, and that's exactly what we want to bring to this Giants team. I was about to say Joe Shane. Joe Judge wasn't really able to do that. He tried, but he couldn't do that. And Shermer couldn't do it really either. And McAdoo, my gosh,
Jason Garrett too.
That was rough. Jason Garrett, yeah, but he wasn't a head coach.
Still can't believe they did a QB sneak and 3rd and down.
Yeah, that's gonna go down as the worst play in NFL history, or not NFL history, in probably Giants history. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, it goes to the butt fumble.
All right, guys. So I can't get the screen share working. Sorry about the inconvenience.
I'll try to get it to work.
Try sending it to this, and I can try screen sharing it. If not, then we'll just keep talking.
Where would I do that? I don't know. Where would I do that?
There's like a place where we can chat. Private chat.
Yeah. No, I see that, but
just copy and paste it. Or copy and paste the link, maybe. Or I could try.
All right, can you try look up next to the Giants schedule? Honestly, we could just say it talk about it right now. So, look at the schedule right now. We start out at home. We got Minnesota. It's a 1:00 game. I think. What are you guys thinking? I'm gonna say we win that. What do you think?
I say we win that too.
That's a win.
He's known for not handling good defenses. He's known for not being good at handling pressure with D lines. And I say we have probably top 7 defensive line with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence.
I think you could say that it's possibly even top 5 or even top 3 in the league, but it's definitely one of the best defensive lines in football. There's honestly, I feel really bad for the Vikings. They have had really bad luck with injuries. I mean, there's honestly no excuse not to win this game. If we lose this game, it's going to be an embarrassing start to the year. Like you got to beat up on an injured team. I'm sorry.
Yeah, especially since their starting quarterback is hurt. Like you
The
got,
only threat they have is Justin Jefferson, in my
but
opinion. They don't really have any other threat.
he's gonna be locked up in so many ways. Like almost every play, I think they're gonna have him locked up. He's not gonna get many targets.
Yeah, like
because of how injured
he got locked up by by Jackson. I forgot his first name.
Yeah,
Dory Jackson. He got locked up by Dory Jackson in the playoffs, and I feel like if Dory Jackson did it, I feel like Deontay Banks could very much do that.
Yes,
yeah, definitely. I
Even with the safeties up top, like Jason Pinnock, he's very good with like deep safety. And Tyler Nubin, the thing that I've noticed from his college tape is that he's very good in the middle of the field, and he's very good at jumping passes.
Yes, I'm a fan of what I've seen of his tape in college. Now, week 2, we go out to Washington. We play the Redskins. I know some people are saying we're going to sweep or going to split with them. I'm going to say we win this game.
I think we win that too.
Yeah. No matter what Washington does, they will never beat us.
I don't know about that, but
like they had like a winning record when they first played us, and no they didn't. But like still though, like Sam Howell was like leading the league in passing yards, and he just plays horribly against us in the first game of last year. But like I definitely feel like Jaden Daniels will be much better than Sam Howell. They got rid of Dotson. Can't believe that. He's very underrated. No matter what happens, Terry McLaurin is always going to do good.
Not in front of Banks.
Not in front of Banks. But like whenever he's like not on Banks, I feel like Terry McLaurin will find a way to get open, but most of the time I don't think he will. And plus, if you do realize this, we always play better in Washington, like every single time. Like it's always a blowout.
Not a blowout, but they definitely do tend to play better. And people, well, they're not forgetting
how like when Saquon was on the team, we were in Washington. And we like killed them. Like they didn't score a point until like the third quarter, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a new head coach with the Commanders too. So we'll see what happens. But I think if we're gonna go off both of those games, we'll go to the game in MetLife too now. Even though it's not in order technically, I think they're gonna win it
when it's like rivals.
I think they're gonna win in MetLife too. Don't forget that they traded away to Jahan Dotson.
And he played very well against the Giants in the second game. Even though they did not come close to winning, he still had a lot of receptions, a lot of yards. He even got like a touchdown against Banks on the pylon.
Yeah, I mean, Dotson played well. I don't know why they'd let him go, but I think Washington's a team we're going to sweep. Then week 3, we go to Cleveland, play the Browns. I don't
have us winning that game.
You have us, or you don't?
I don't have us. I feel like Myles Garrett is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now, I think that's our first loss of the year.
Yeah.
Obviously it could be a win, but I think
it's definitely a toss-up.
Yeah. Amari Cooper, who's in fact, like I feel like is a top 5 route runner in the league right now. He's still really, really underrated. I still don't understand why Jerry Jones would pick Zeke over Amari Cooper.
Yeah, keep in mind that Amari might get traded too.
Mm.
So, and we don't know exactly who's going to be the quarterback for that game either. I don't know if it's going to be Deshaun Watson or their backup. I forget his name.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
No.
Oh.
He played yesterday. He played really well yesterday. The guy that was the quarterback for Tampa and the Saints.
Ooh.
Why am I blinking right now?
Not Jameson Williams, right?
It is Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Oh, Jameis Winston. He's on the Browns.
If Jameis Winston is the quarterback for that game, I think the Giants win. But either way, I still have that game as a win.
Okay.
Honestly.
I just feel like the defensive line is just going to, like, kill us. Like, I wouldn't say kill us, but, like, I feel like it's just going to.
Yeah.
Like, he always, no matter what, like, offensive line he's going up against, he always gets a sack.
It's going to be hard for sure. But like I said, that game is probably like one of the hardest games to predict for the whole schedule this year. Let's go to
it's in Cleveland too.
Yeah, but let's go to week 4.
We got Dallas.
I actually have the Cowboys sweeping us, unfortunately.
Yeah, same. I think we're gonna swap by Dallas.
Yeah. I think we're gonna win one of the two.
I hope so.
And I'm not just saying that. I think we can win one of the two. And the comments are blowing up already.
It's definitely possible, but like, it's definitely possible, but it's just like it's possible to beat the Cowboys because we beat the Packers and the Packers blew out the Cowboys in the wild card. But it's just a curse or something. We cannot beat that team.
I know.
It's like what EDP said. We cannot beat this damn team.
But there was a clip from Cowboys training camp I saw, and it could have just been like a bad day for their team. But whoever was their quarterback, whether it was Dak or their backup, he could not complete a pass to anybody. And if that happens during the regular season, they are going to have some problems with the Giants. I don't care how good their defense is, and their defense is good. Like Micah Parsons, he's going to cause problems for the Giants no matter what. Same thing with like DeMarcus Lawrence. That whole defense is going to cause problems, especially with an aggressive Mike Zimmer, a guy that just got a new job and got fired, and he was so upset after he got fired. It's going to be hard to beat him, but if that first game is in MetLife, that crowd is going to be roaring, and I have the Giants winning.
I think we could possibly win that game. I'm going to be honest with you. But
if we do end up winning against the Cowboys once, it's going to be in MetLife.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't think we could win in Dallas with that like environment. Like that's stadium.
It's on Thanksgiving though, so you never know.
True. Maybe Malik Neighbors will get a one-handed grab.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's on Thanksgiving.
All right. Week 5.
We got Seattle. In
Seattle. I honestly do not have us beating that game. It's going to be close, but
I think it's
going to be close and low scoring. I feel like it might be like 17-10, but I don't have us winning that game.
Very low scoring game.
I feel like DK Metcalf is going to score a touchdown on Banks.
Last time we played at Seattle, we only scored like 10 points and we got killed.
We got sacked like 11 times.
Yeah, and although this game this is not a Pete Carroll-led team, this is a very aggressive defensive-led team now. with that new coach, Mike McDonald, I think is his name. Yeah, we're not winning that game, I don't think. No matter what.
We never beat the Seahawks.
We can't.
I don't know why.
We can, or we could win that game. That's another toss-up game. But I just don't see us winning that game.
I know.
All right, week 6.
We got the Bengals at home on Sunday Night Football. Kind of in the middle. I'm gonna say a loss right now, but I could see us possibly upsetting the Bengals this season.
Yeah, I definitely could too. I might be at that game actually, so
I'm going.
Yeah, I might go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna go to at least one Giants game. We just need to figure out what game.
I'm going every home game this year.
Damn.
I honestly have us beating the Bengals in like an upset.
Yeah, I have the Bengals losing to the Giants in an upset too.
I hope you guys are right. I could see us upsetting them. I'm just gonna say a loss for right now.
I know it's just preseason, but the Giants just look better than the Bengals so far. I think after this year, Zach Taylor, the coach of the Bengals, he could lose his job. If they don't have a winning season this year, he is gone. I think, in my opinion. I don't care if he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. That was almost 3 years ago now.
I honestly think like Joe Burrow is gonna have like an off game against like the Giants because the Bengals still don't have a good offensive line, right? Yeah, so I feel like the Giants' defensive line, and on top of the fact that Dexter Lawrence had like 81 pressures at nose tackle last year, and the guy in second place had like 14, which is like one of probably the craziest stat last year. I feel like Joe Burrow is just going to have too much pressure in his face, and I feel like it's just going to be an upset. I feel like, I don't feel like the Bengals are going to be scoring that much points in that game. I feel like they're going to have like 10 points, maybe 13, and the Giants might have. Do the Bengals have like a good offense, like the top offense in the league?
No.
Yeah, I feel like do
Besides,
they have good corners by chance?
I don't even know who their corners are right now, off the top of my head.
The best defensive player I think the Bengals have right now is like that edge rusher, like 94. I think that's his number. 91. Yeah, that's their best defensive player in my opinion, and I feel like if Andrew Thomas is on him, I feel like we have a good shot of winning that game because I don't think any of the corners can run with Malik Neighbors or Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah. I agree. All right, let's go to week 7. We already know what that game is. It's Saquon's return to MetLife. Eagles, Giants at MetLife.
Yep.
I have a win.
I have a win too.
I feel like we're gonna be splitting with the Eagles. We win.
Yeah. I have a splitting. I have a splitting with the Eagles, splitting with the Cowboys, and sweeping the Commanders.
I have a splitting with the Eagles, getting swept by the Cowboys, and sweeping the Redskins this year.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel like if to be honest, if we beat the Eagles in Week 18, with the worst offensive line in the league, and a second string QB, I honestly think we could beat the Eagles, to be honest. Like, yes, they got Saquon, but they think they're getting rookie Saquon when in reality they're getting the Saquon that fumbles in the open field and loses stamina after one big run and then
they're getting a Saquon that can get injured easily, and
exactly.
Although that is unfortunate.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't like people say, oh, he gets injured because of the O-line. That is not true. All 4 of his injuries have been because have been way past the line of scrimmage. His first
Yeah,
injury, I think, was against the Buccaneers.
it
He like
was. An
he like
offensive
landed wrong.
an offensive line does not cause an Achilles injury.
Right.
I'm
Yeah, and plus
sorry.
his like the
Or not an
injury he
Achilles
had
injury, an
before his
ACL.
last 1,000-yard season, like which was the season like the year before we won a playoff game against the Vikings. He stepped on a Cowboys player's foot, and he was out for the rest of the season. Like
I mean, he still played,
like
but
Yeah, I think honestly something must have been off with him like before that. Because there's either that or he must have like stepped on something wrong
yeah,
for that
he like
to
stepped
happen.
on someone's
But
foot and just like twisted his ankle. And the only injury he had because the O line was recent, which was with the worst offensive line of all time. He like got like 1 yard, and then someone landed on his foot, and then he hurt his ankle and was out for like 3 games. That was the only fault. That was the only time it was the offensive line's fault, and that was when we had the worst offensive line of all time. So I feel like
exactly.
most of his injuries are his fault.
yeah, I mean, the offensive line doesn't help him, but it's not like the main cause for his injuries. Now let's go to week 8. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's
That's
a close one.
yeah,
Losing
that's
that game.
like right after you said that, I was like, I don't really know who to pick.
I
Um,
was losing that game. Same thing with the Browns. In fact, I think they have a better defense than the Browns. They just got Patrick Queen. They have Hayward, an interior D line threat who's still really good in like 10+ years. He's been in the league. T.J. Watt should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. And he has the same deal as Myles Garrett. He's just going to apply so much pressure no matter what O line he's going to go with. And they also have Mika Fitzpatrick, who is a great safety. And they have, if they keep him, Najee Harris, George Pickens, and yeah, they have 2 QBs who have potential. I mean, Justin Fields has potential. Russell Wilson, he's lost that potential. I honestly feel like they should start Justin Fields.
I
And
agree.
Russell Wilson should mentor him because they both play similar. And yeah, I just feel like we will not, like with the pressure. I feel like we're just not going to be able to handle it because yeah, they also have who's their who's their rookie corner last year? Porter.
Joey Porter Jr., yes.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like it's going to be another low scoring game, and I just feel like
I agree. It's
going to be
gonna
a bit much for us.
Yeah, it's gonna be low scoring. I do have the Giants pulling off the win, though. I don't know how they're gonna win it, but I just have a feeling that they're gonna win that game. They definitely have enough potential to win that game. Like Neighbors, if he makes enough plays, same thing with Slayton, same thing with Hyatt. They just need to get those 3 receivers involved all season, and this Wandale too. Yeah, they need to get those 4 receivers involved all season, and this Giants team will look scary out there.
Instead of like, you know how like Slayton caught a lot of deep balls last year from Tyrod, I feel like instead of Slayton, I feel like that should be Hyatt because Hyatt has more speed. I feel like, and he's younger. I feel like he's getting better by every week, and I just feel like he has more potential than Slayton. And I feel like he should just be on the deep balls more because we've seen him on the deep ball. He's very good, and he's great at keeping the feet in. And yeah, I just feel like people like in my opinion, Giants fans like it's either Slayton or Hyatt with them. And I've since I'm always biased with Jalen Hyatt since college, ever since he had that 5 touchdown game against Alabama, I've always been in love with him. And I just really think he has more potential than Darius Slayton, and I really think we should like use Jalen Hyatt more. I feel like it should just mainly be Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, and Wandale Robinson. And the issue with like Hodgins last year, how he only got the ball a little bit, but it was reliable. I feel like that's going to be Darius Slayton this year. And in fact, I feel like Hodgins might be cut by like a year or something.
Yeah, Hodgins he's not even getting that old, but it kind of feels like he is. But I just have a feeling, especially with the new guys that we got, he's just gonna not be involved with the offense that much. But let's move on to the next week.
So game, we talked about Washington already.
Yeah, so next week.
Let's talk about the Germany game, week 10.
We're winning.
That's a win.
That's a win.
We're winning.
Last time we played in Germany, we played extremely good against the Packers, and to be honest,
that was
Panthers. London. That was London. My bad.
But
it's just like games that like are on like the other side of the world. I feel like we play very good, and it's the Panthers. So like, I honestly think we could beat them. They had a worse offense than us. Actually, no, I feel like
they're a higher overall in Madden.
Yeah, but
it's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But anyway, Madden is not real life, so like, I feel like we beat them. I have us like beating them by like 20.
We're gonna.
Yes, they got Deontay Johnson, right? It was like
that was a trade between the Steelers.
Yeah, that was by the Steelers and the Panthers. And yeah, it was like the Steelers got a corner and the Panthers got their receiver who can't catch, in my opinion. He could run routes, but he cannot catch. He's known for having like butterfingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next week.
We got the Bucs at home. I'm gonna say
I honestly think we could beat them in overtime. Because in my opinion, the Bucs last year were like the Giants the year we won the playoff game.
I kind of agree.
Feel like they did good last year, but I feel like they're gonna go on a little fall off this upcoming year.
Yeah, actually, Dave Canales, the coach of the Panthers, he was the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers last year. So, but I
say we beat the Bucs in overtime.
I'll say we just beat them.
I don't see the Giants winning this game. I really just don't see it. I don't know why.
What do you think will be the main struggle?
Just offense. Also, we're coming back from Germany too.
Isn't it like a bye week though? Like we're coming back from Germany, but it's like a bye week.
Well, yeah, that helps. That definitely helps.
I will get like an extra day like an extra week to practice.
But still, like I just don't see us keeping up with that offense that they have. Don't forget, they blew out the Eagles in the playoffs, even though that Eagles team was already kind of, they
got better, but
that Eagles
like Saquon and Swift are going to be like the same exact thing.
That Eagles team looked tired though, so maybe they play better against like more tired teams. I don't really know, but it'll definitely be a battle. I'll say that.
Yes.
But
yeah. I think it's going to be about like back and forth.
Yeah, but let's move on to the next week.
Who's next?
So we're in Dallas on Thanksgiving. We talked about that.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Saints next. I'm going to say that's a win. What do you think?
For what?
I feel like it's a win against the Saints. They haven't really have they even gotten that much better?
Not really.
No.
They haven't really. In fact, I think they got worse. they haven't really done that much stuff in the offseason. And we've done a lot of stuff to improve our team. And I just feel like we're gonna beat the Saints. Where is it? Is it in the Superdome?
No, it's at MetLife this time.
Oh yeah, we got them. Like in the
And
Superdome, it's a lot harder.
Dennis Allen might not even be the coach at the time of this game.
Mm.
I was listening to The Herd with Colin Coward, one of the smartest football guys out there. Some people might disagree, but in my opinion, he's one of the smartest guys out there. And he was saying that probably by the middle of the season, maybe even before Thanksgiving, he might get fired. So, yeah, but I think we beat the Saints no matter who's their coach and no matter the depth of that team.
I feel like the only thing that matters is like the place, because in the Superdome it is really hard. It's almost as hard as like playing in Seattle.
Yeah,
but since it's in MetLife, I don't think the atmosphere is going to be that big of a deal for them. So no, I mean it's not going to be pretty for them.
exactly. Yeah.
So I have us winning that game, and the biggest part is probably like the area.
Yeah.
So like location is a big part in that game.
Yep.
Next, we got the Ravens. I'm saying a loss.
No. Yeah,
loss.
that's a loss.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's going to kill.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we already got our win against Lamar Jackson, and that's his only loss against the NFC teams. So you know what? I'll take it. I'll take a loss on that. It's pretty fair. Like they're stacked. They have Lamar Jackson, who is coming off an MVP season. Derrick Henry. The RPOs are going to kill us, in my opinion. I mean, we do have like both right outside linebacker and left outside linebacker, Kayvon and Burns. I feel like that would help us. And if there's a run up the middle, it's either going to be Dexter Lawrence or Bobby Okereke stopping it. I feel like that's our only chance in stopping the run. But even with that, we still got to figure out what to do with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. And I'll say it, Isaiah Likely, he's good too. He played very good when Mark Andrews was out. And with our offense, I just feel like we're not gonna like do that good on offense. I just feel like they have too good of a defense. They had, I think, a top 3 defense last year. They got Roquan Smith. They got Humphrey. They got Kyle Hamilton. I just don't think we keep up with their offense and defense.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Maybe
a couple years ago we could. This year it's gonna be hard. All right. Next week we got
the Falcons.
I used to have us winning that, but after they just got Justin Simmons, their secondary probably going to be one of the best in the league. They got who's their corner? 24? Terrell?
Yeah, Terrell.
Yeah. They have him, Justin Simmons, in my opinion, the best safety in the league, and they have like
they also have Jesse Bates.
Yeah, Jesse Bates. That's who I was talking about. The best safety in the league. I think it's him.
I agree.
They also have Matthew Judon. They have I know they have someone online. They definitely have someone.
They have
online.
Bijan Robinson too. So
they have Bijan Robinson. Probably going to be a top.
Yeah, this game is going to be hard, but I think almost all of these games that we've talked about are going to be close.
Like any other year, like their offense wouldn't do good, but they got Kirk Cousins and they got a new offensive coordinator,
head coach.
Head coach. So
yeah,
Drake London, Kyle Pitts is finally going to be used a lot more. So I just don't feel like we could keep up with them.
Yeah, I don't think
the Ravens.
That's a winnable game. I just
think it's a winnable game. I don't think we're going to win it.
I just feel like the talent they have on like both sides of the ball. I just feel like because their secondary, in my opinion, is perfect. It's like the Bills in like 2021. They had Micah Hyde, Joey Porter. No. What's 21's name? that he got traded to the
Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, Jordan Poyer. They had Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, and they had Tre'Davious White. And I feel like that's going to be and I feel like it's going to be the Falcons this year with Terrell, Bates, and Simmons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next week we got the Colts. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's a win. I'm gonna.
Yeah. I think that's
I feel like we could win that. AR-15
already
is probably
know-
going to be
We
the hardest thing to stop.
Yeah. And we already know what happened the last time the Colts played us. It's at MetLife too.
London, like
This is at
Collins.
No, this is at MetLife on the exact same day 2 years.
No way.
No, it's not.
No, that's crazy.
That's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
No. When we played 2 years ago, it was on New Year's Day. This is going to be either the 20th or the 29th.
Damn.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It would have been though.
But I feel like it's going to be a close game. But I think we will come up on top. I think AR could run, but I feel like
yeah, we'll be able to
Justin Simmons, he's going to be a good QB spy. If anybody tries running up the middle, Dexter Lawrence is going to stop them in their tracks. If they try going to the right or left, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau are going to stop them. And I feel like their only receiving threat is Michael Pittman.
I agree.
And I feel like Banks could stop him.
I agree.
And because they mostly go to Pittman deep, and I feel like we have two safeties who are really good on the deep ball, like with Jason Pinnock and Tyler Nubin. And if they ever try going doing a 10-yard in to Michael Pittman, guess who has that? Tyler Nubin. He's great at that at college. He's going to jump that ball and he's going to bring it back for 6, hopefully.
I agree.
I feel like we win against the Colts, and that's why I have us going 9-8.
And the final game of the season, we're in Philadelphia.
We talked about that a little bit. I think we lose, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess final record prediction. I have us going 9-8.
I'm gonna say 8-9. Or 9-8, possibly.
Will, what's yours?
9-8.
Yeah.
For the rivals, we sweep Washington, we split with the Eagles, and we get swept by the Cowboys.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We have like a top 10 hardest schedule. That's what people in the NFL have been saying. It was like on Good Morning Football, I think, saying that we had like the top 10 hardest schedules in the league. I think it was like posted somewhere. Yeah. We're also in like one of the hardest divisions in football. Top 3, maybe even top 2.
Yeah. People 2 years ago, people were saying this was the worst division ever.
Yeah. They were just like it was now, it was like a turtle race. Now it's like one of the best.
Yeah.
That was when Washington made the playoffs and no one else did.
I know, that was so bad.
Like that was weird. Taylor Heineke was a straight up dog in that playoff game against the Bucs.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But yeah. But overall, that pretty much wraps us up, I think, for today. We talked about our expectations for this season, and we talked about like the preseason pretty much. And like it says here, we'll be back every Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be the same people every time, but I will for sure be back here. I'll try to be back here at least every Sunday, making content for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. You guys have any last words?
Not much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
This was good.
Yeah. All right, let's go Giants, and
Yep.
we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys. Let's go Giants.
Later.
Out.